so what the World Bank is doing in this area is basically facilitate a global partnership made up of 37 developing countries, we call them RED or RED Plus countries, and 14 financial contributors, mostly sovereign, Annex 1 countries, but also the European Commission and the large US-based non-governmental organization, the Nature Conservancy. And so basically what we're all trying to do, this was designed in 2006 and became operational about 18 months ago, is to try and make RED work, understand what RED means, RED Plus means, and basically start implementing it. And the focus has been on what we call RED Plus readiness, helping countries get ready for supplying to a market or to another system of financial incentives high-quality emission reductions from RED Plus. What does that mean? It means that there is a lack of clarity, a lack of systems. We've heard monitoring, reporting, verification, reference scenarios, to supply credible climate-friendly emission reductions. And unless you start with that, RED may actually not work. You also heard Stuart talk about some concerns. So the focus has been on RED Plus readiness, specifically on 4 areas. Helping countries design or figure out their so-called baseline. We call it reference scenario, which is partly retrospective and potentially also forward-looking. So it's how much a country has emitted from its forest sector and potentially would emit in the future in the absence of financial incentives. Then is the design of a measurement, reporting, and verification system. You hear MRV a lot around here in Copenhagen, and that is a system that allows you to measure, report, and verify emission reductions in a credible way. You don't invent this as you go, you have to design this ex ante, and then you implement it, you use it as you go. And then, of course, a critical piece is, that is not technical, it's really political, economic, social, is a strategy to reduce emissions. Measuring is very nice, figuring out how much you have emitted is very nice, but what you need to do to reduce emissions is actually key. And you heard Lou talk about the drivers of deforestation. Most of these drivers are actually outside of the forest sector. It's agriculture, it's energy, it's transport, tourism, etc. And then also what you need to do to implement the strategy. You heard Stuart talk about rights. Who owns the rights to the carbon? Who is going to be able to receive these payments? Very few countries have actually figured it out. And unless you figure that out, and it's clearly tied to the rights to the land and the rights to the forests, it's going to be very difficult to have high-quality emission reductions and sustainable emission reductions for the future. Also, countries also must focus on their management arrangements for RED. Consult. These strategies don't come out of a hat. They must be adopted collectively by the nation, and that involves the public sector, the private sector, but also civil society, including indigenous people. So all of this is actually quite challenging because we're working against the grain. This is not typically how things are done. So when you think of RED as a development problem, you need to see it as part of development policy, land use policy, okay? And this is extremely challenging. And then the fact that it must be done in a collaborative, participatory way, all of that is challenging too. And no wonder then that it takes time, and that these countries are actually going to move to RED slower, more slowly than you think. So the big bang, the big market is actually not quite for tomorrow. It's going to take time before all these systems are put in place. But it's better to take the time now and get to good, credible systems, because that will ensure the sustainability of the